Welcome back to another video on the channel. I was going to do daily videos during the US Open, but there's so many different matches at so many different times. A lot of the first round matches are very straightforward wins, so it's difficult to sort of make a video about it. So I have just decided to do last 16 previews and predictions, and I'll be doing the same for the quarters, semis and finals. Just first off, I think both tournaments, the men's and the women's singles, have been fantastic so far. There was debate whether there was going to be an asterisk against whoever won the events due to the amount of withdrawals and the different circumstances, but I think that's sort of been put to bed. The matches that we've had, and if you look at the lineups in the last 16s of both the men's and the women's, the amount of 50-50s and fantastic matchups that we've got, it's going to be an incredible tournament, an incredible second week, and whoever wins the event will fully deserve to lift that Grand Slam title and have it to their name. But kicking things off on the last 16 side of the draw, we have Novak Djokovic against Pablo. Djokovic has been in scintillating form this week. We won the Cincinnati Open, which was sort of perfect preparation, maintained that unbeaten streak. And as Djokovic usually does, he's breezed through the opening rounds, which I said at the start of the tournament I think is so important. Particularly in a time that there hasn't been a lot of tennis on. Will players struggle for fitness at the back end of a 7-match Grand Slam. And Djokovic is always a player who sort of just dismantled his first round opponents, got through in an hour and a half, 2 hours, conserving all of his energy for the last round, which is massively important. It's something I've criticised the next gen for in the past. I understand they are young players, but someone like Tsitsipas, who went in a 4 or 5 hour battle the other day with Borna Coric in round 3, and although Coric is a good player, Tsitsipas, a player of his quality, would expect to come through, and even had he come through that match, obviously we know now that he blew a 5-1 lead in the 4th set and 6 match points and all that, but even had Tsitsipas come through that, he's going to be struggling physically in the next round, and it all just not going to affect his performances, and by the time he'd reach the semi-final, to probably face Djokovic, how much would he have left? But yeah, Djokovic has just looked incredible so far this week, and he's going to be incredibly tough to beat, I feel, over 5 sets with the experience, the fitness, the skill that he's got, particularly against Jan and Struff the other day. Struff's a up-and-coming young player who I thought done particularly well in the first set, tried to impose himself on the match, but Djokovic's variations, his defence, flexibility, his speed, all-round game, he served, everything just looks on point at the moment. And I said on Twitter, I am covering the US Open on Twitter, so if you do want to follow me, I'll leave my link in the description. But you just sort of sit in awe and watch Djokovic play tennis. He's a player that has never been one like him. Some of the shots he pulls off are shots that only he could pull off in the world, and just an unbelievable player to watch, and undoubtedly the best player in the world at the moment. And he's up against Buster, who again is a solid all-round player. He's reached a semi-finalist event back in 2017. And I watched his match against Barrancas in round 3. He looked very good. Barrancas can be dangerous, and Buster can win that one in straight sets. I do feel at the Djokovic that you need a real weapon that you can just pull off all day. Just whether it's a backhand or a forehand, just hit them down the line for 5 consecutive sets, which is incredibly difficult, and a reason why Djokovic doesn't really get beat on a hard court or on Wimbledon recently. I just don't feel Buster's got that big weapon that you'd need to beat Djokovic. Buster's a player tends to beat down opponents really well and down from the back of the court, and just try and force errors from the opponent. But obviously that's very difficult to beat Djokovic at his own game, and you have to tip Novak to come through that one relatively comfortably. Moving on to what will be a fantastic match between Schapivolov and David Goffin. Obviously, Schapivolov came back from the brink of defeat against Taylor Fritz. In that match, Schapivolov served 22 aces, hit 60 winners. He's a player that possesses a huge game. He's incredibly naturally talented, I feel. He's got a lefty serve, a one-handed backhand, only 21. And he's got a huge future in the game. I remember him saying last year in an interview that he said, with me lefty serve, with me single-handed backhand, with me master forehand, he says, I don't think anybody in the world can really out-hit me. That confidence is fantastic, I feel, and you can see it on court. He backs himself, whatever the scoreline, he's got that mentality to fight back, and he's just one of a number of Canadians that are coming through, lighting up events. They've had a fantastic time of it over the past few years with the players on both WTA and the ATP, you look at the likes of Pospisil, Raonic himself, auger-aliassime, Eugenie Bouchard, Bianca Andreescu. There's so many young Canadians came through in the past few years, and they're doing a fantastic time of things. And when you look at auger-aliassime and Schapivolov, you've got two of the most entertaining young players coming through there, and they're both Canadian. So yeah, exciting times for Canadian tennis. David Goffin is arguably one of my favourite players to watch in the world playing tennis. He's just I always just feel he's a brilliant example of how a tennis player should be on the court. He's a great mover, always just hits well timed, clean ground strokes on both wings, forehand and backhand. He's very efficient. He's got clever variations, aggressive with a double-handed backhand down the line, and just a fantastic tennis player to watch. If you haven't tuned into much tennis before in the past, and you want to see just a brilliant tennis player, just watch David Goffin. This is going to be an incredible matchup. It's very difficult to call. I do feel like Schapivolov had a long match against Fritz, very physically demanding and mentally demanding, don't forget, whereas Goffin had a very comfortable 3-set win over Filip Krajinovic, which is a very good win and a great performance from Goffin. I think he looks in great nick this week, and due to the fact that Schapivolov had a marathon in the last round and Goffin had as I say, a straight touch comfortable win, I do think Goffin might just be the fresher and take it, but that'll be an unbelievable match. And if I am advising you to tune into one match in the last 16, it'll probably be that one. Borna Coric against Jordan Thompson. Again, an unbelievable comeback from a player in the third round. We had Borna Coric 5-1 and 6 match points down to Stefanos Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas is a big favourite, obviously, to go through in that one. But Coric came back and got the win of his career. He's a player now that's got nothing to lose in the draw. He's even said himself he's very lucky to be there. He should be out. But obviously, again, his recovery is going to be key. Schapivolov, how much has he got left now after that massive 5-set match? And there's always the chance of the bounce factor, having a massive win. Can you reproduce a performance like that again? Or was that as good as you're going to get in this event? Coric is a player I've watched for a long time. He's very solid all round, and when I watched him for the first time 3 or 4 years ago, at age around 19 or 20, he struck me as a Djokovic type, where he's just a great mover. He's very solid all round. Didn't have a massive ground stroke, but I think he's like Djokovic has developed over the years, and he's double-handed backhand. I think Coric might develop a massive shot over the years, and I think he's a player that will improve with experience. I did say in the past I just think he needs a massive breakthrough win at a Grand Slam to really kickstart his Grand Slam journeys. And he got that the other day, from down and out against Tsitsipas. It was a fantastic win. Tsitsipas was fancied by many to reach the semi-final final stage, and Coric fully deserved his win in the end. Closed the match out incredibly well in that deciding tie break, and I think he's a player with a huge future. Jordan Thompson, the Aussies have had a great time with it in the last 16. We've got 2 on the men's side, Alex de Minaur and Jordan Thompson. Thompson, you can't really fault his former results. He chases down every ball. Got a solid all-round game. I believe he's come through this to this stage without dropping a set. I could be wrong, but I'm sure that's what I saw this morning. I do feel Coric is an all-round better player, and as I say, a lot will depend on how much Coric has left after that 5-set marathon against Tsitsipas. If Thompson can win the opening set, defend well, take the match deep, then he could cause an upset. But for me, I believe Coric is a real confidence player, and he's had a few struggles with injury in the past couple of years, and I do feel that was his breakthrough win, and I see him backing it up and making his way to the quarterfinals. Moving on to Davidovich Fokina against Alexander Zverev, and I watched Fokina for the first time in the third round against Britain's Cam Norrie. I am actually working for Grand Slam Tennis Online during the US Open, doing live ball-by-ball commentaries, one a day. So I am posting them on Twitter as well if you do want to follow them. So I did watch the Fokina match in full the other day against Cam Norrie, and it was a good win for Fokina. I wasn't overly massively impressed. It was a good win for him, reaching the fourth round of a Grand Slam for the first time in his career. It was a tough battle for the opening 3 sets. I thought Fokina played very well in patches, but on other times just runs of unforced errors, gifting games away, which you're not going to be able to do against a player like Zverev. I did feel he was a little too inconsistent from what I've seen, but I have only seen, as I say, one match of him. Cam Norrie unfortunately gave the match away really from the third set onwards. Fokina did play well with aggressive, positive tennis, kept making the forehand in the corner. But Norrie lost, I think it was 10 out of 11 games in the end, just seemed to completely lose his way in that match, and Fokina breezed to a 4-set win. As people might know, I'm not a massive Sasha Zverev fan myself. I like watching him, I like him as a person, but he's a frustrating watch. Against Mannarino in round 3, it was more of the same, more double faults, more forehand errors, and he's a player I think could be so much better than what he is, even at an early age. The forehand and double faults have been a problem for quite a while now, and in particular the second serve doesn't seem to be getting any better. Did serve some massive aces off the second serve yesterday, but I don't think that's it's not going to happen consistently. It needs a proper fix, I feel. At one point he's trying to roll it in at 90 mile an hour, the next time he's hitting 135 mile an hour ace down the middle, which is very strange, and as I say, not a long term plan. I don't think you're going to win Grand Slams with the second serve like Zverev's. It does need serious work. But in fairness to him, he found his rhythm from the first set onwards. The bigger ball striking came into play. He out-hit Mannarino from the back of the court, really started to attack the net, hit a lot of aces, and he played well. So maybe this is the Zverev that we all want to see for the next few years. I do feel Zverev will win this match. I think he's just a level above Fokina in every department, and he will take advantage of the good draw that he's being given. Moving on to another complete 50-50, Matteo Beretini against Andrea Rublev. They're both loving the fast hard court this week. None of these players have lost a set, which sets it up for an incredible match. Beretini has that huge serve and forehand. He's improving all the time, but I do still feel he's a little bit erratic at times. He made 40 unforced errors in a straight sets win the other day, which is a lot. And Andrea Rublev is arguably the player of 2020, other than Novak Djokovic. I think at the start of the year he went on a 15-match unbeaten streak, reached the 4th round of the Australian Open, also won 2 ATP titles. And yeah, Rublev lost just 4 games. I caught some of his third round match yesterday against Caruso, and he just looked an unbelievable nick. Just so aggressive and just hitting the lines more or less every time. I think he only made 10 unforced errors yesterday, which is quite a great stat. Lost just 4 games, as I say, and I do feel Rublev just has a more consistent ground strokes, a little bit more consistent first serve. He's just having an incredible year, and he's got that sort of winning experience this year. He knows how well he's playing. He must be full of confidence after that unbeaten streak. I do feel he beats Beretini, what will be a thrilling match. Probably go 4 or 5. Moving on to what I think is probably tie of the round, Felix Auger-Aliassime against Dominic Thiem, and this is just a brilliant matchup. Felix Auger-Aliassime has just been incredible viewing so far this tournament. Probably the best player this tournament so far for me, entertainment wise. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching him against the likes of Andy Murray. And I just feel he's a player that's got everything. Tim Henminster did the day on commentary that when we talk about next gen future Grand Slam champions, we always look at the likes of Tsitsipas, we look at Zverev, we look at Medvedev, but he said this is a player that's got everything. He's in Tim Henman's opinion, he's above them all. He's got that big serve, the forehand, the net play. Pulled off 2 or 3 tweenies yesterday, I believe, to win the points that were just unbelievable. He's got speed, but this will be an acid test. We haven't seen Aliassime yet really an acid test in a Grand Slam match. He'll need to show great mental strength, ability to produce his best tennis in big moments, which we haven't really seen an example of yet, but you certainly can't write him off it. He's got all the ability in the world, and he's a player that, if he keeps improving and does improve the experience, he's going to be some talent in the future. But Dominic Thiem, I believe, has looked good this week after that shocking performance at Cincinnati Open. It was remained to be seen whether that was just a slight blip in form and just a complete off day, and I believe it was. He's gone back to the old deep return position, which I think suits Thiem a lot more. He gets into rallies, he wears the opponents down now, attacking the short balls with his backhands down the line, and he just looks back to his best. You know, we know Thiem's improved massively over the last 18 months. He's reached 3 Grand Slam finals, plus Djokovic very incredibly hard at that Melbourne final and early this year. And he looked very good against Cilic in his third round match. I think that was a good win. It was a good test against the former Grand Slam champion. I was particularly impressed with the way Thiem backed up the first serve, constructed the points very well. I think he won 89% of first serve points, which is very good, and a massive confidence booster for Thiem. As I say, it's just going to be an incredible match with so many winners and so many fantastic classic points. I'm just going to edge towards Thiem because of that experience. You know, as I say, in the past he's made 3 Grand Slam finals, and Thiem did make a point that, you know, I think this is the first auger-aliassime's reached in a Grand Slam, whereas Thiem's been the back end of these slams and knows how to manage his body. And I do think I'll edge the match, but auger-aliassime will you know, no doubt turn up and match Thiem for large spells of the match. I just think Thiem at the back end of the sets might have too much experience and consistency for auger-aliassime, but what a match it'll be. Moving on to Medvedev against Tiafoe. I think Medvedev's a player that is improving with age, playing to his strengths. I feel a couple of years ago he was probably guilty of loading up too much and being erratic, looking for the winner too early in the rallies, but he's gone back to his strengths in the fact that, or improved, and realised what his strengths are, and he's a great rallier. He's got them consistent ground strokes, he can mix it up between attack and defence, and he's obviously got a bomb of a first serve, one of the best first serves in the world, I believe, and he is a serious contender now at every event, particularly on a hard court. He reached the final this event last year, obviously before losing to Rafa in 5. And he's obviously took huge confidence in that and then backed himself to go all the way this year without Rafa being the draw. Tiafoe is another young player who I think can have a good career. I think he's ranked around 70 or 80. I think he's a little bit better than that if he was a bit more consistent and just had a more consistent first serve. I do think he could be a top 50 player. I'm sure he will be in the future. He's done well to reach this stage of the tournament, but I just don't think he has that first serve or hitting ability to trouble Medvedev, and I'm tipping a straightforward win for the Russian, which we'll see him progress to this quarter-final stage. And finally, the 8th of last 16 matches, we have Vasek Pospisil against Alex Domino, and this is sort of an underrated match, I feel. I think it'll be a very, very good one. You know, Pospisil is always capable of great tennis in a Grand Slam run. And so far this week, he's claimed wins over Milos Raonic and Roberto Bautista Agut, which are 2 incredible wins. 2 very different styles of player, but he imposed his big positive game style and executed very well against both opponents. He did play a very long 5-setter with Roberto Bautista Agut, and probably one of the last players you want to come up against after that is Alex Domino. You know, Domino is just a speed demon, really. He's arguably the quickest player in the tour for me. He's got a super defence, great counter puncher, very fit. But his second serve is very vulnerable, and Pospisil will be looking to attack that. He did that very well, I feel, against Raonic. But I do just say I think it's a bad matchup for Pospisil after 2 long matches. Domino is a player that gets everything back. You know, he makes you pay the extra shot, he keeps you on the run. He's got his own big ground strokes, a good, as I say, a great counter puncher, which makes it very difficult at the net. And I do think Domino will knock out Pospisil and end his fantastic run. But they're my preview predictions for the last 16 men's matches. I will be doing the same for the women's matches, maybe just on Twitter before the quarter-final stage, as the matches do start today. But yeah, I am working with Grand Slam Tennis Online, doing live ball-by-ball commentary of 1 match a day. So do check out their website. I am posting about it on Twitter as well, covering the US Open in full. So if you do want to follow me on Twitter, I will leave the link in my description below. And leave your thoughts on the last 16 matches in the comments below, which ones you're going to be watching and who you think is going to win the matches. But thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.